No amount of lighting is gonna make my skin look like the pimples, the dry skin, the blackheads, the oiliness. Whatever, I'm a human, okay? And my skin is acting up, and I'm not gonna sit here and go blind just to blur out my flaws. Greetings, Royals. It is Constance with QueenlyMe.com, your place for tips, insight, and inspiration on life and relationships. And today, we are going to let some of these red flags fly. Even the ones you've been overlooking. Whether you are trying to figure out if your boo is the one, or you're not quite dating, but you don't really want to waste your time with the wrong person once you do. Or even if you've been dating for a while in a committed relationship and you're kind of at that crossroads where it's like, okay, we're either going to get married or we're going to break up. These red flags I'm going to bring up straight from the Bible, okay? The Bible. Don't play. Might just clear some things up real quick, so let's get started. Red flag number 1, and this might be obvious or not, because some of us just don't want to see certain things, but if they treat other people like crap. Psalms 26 verses 4 and 5 says, I do not sit with the deceitful, nor do I associate with hypocrites. So pay attention to how your boo treats other people, because this could be a whole character issue. If they are manipulative, drama-filled, narcissistic, condescending, or even if they just expect people to treat them better than they're willing to treat others, then that's a major red flag. And in that case, you need to do like Mean Girls and just tell him or her, you can't sit with us, boo, because you're rude. Number 2, if they are unconcerned with your growth. Proverbs 27, 5 and 6 says, the wounds of a friend are better than the kisses of an enemy. A person who truly cares for you will risk hurting your feelings in order to tell you the truth and help you to grow. So if your boo or even a friend of yours isn't invested in your growth, they may just be a co-signer. They may be a Me Too person. They might just tell you what you want to hear and stroke your ego in order to cover up the deceit that they probably have going on the inside of them. Never date someone who can't handle your purpose and who's afraid for you to outshine them, because a lot of times sabotage can be covered in honey, even by the people who are closest to you. They say keep your enemies closer. Another red flag is if you don't learn from them and if they're not willing to learn from you. Proverbs 27:10 says, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Your significant other should make you a better person, and you should be able to help them become better as well. I was in a relationship one time, and I swear I thought I was the most horrible person on earth because everything was a lesson that I had to learn, okay? I was the one who had to learn all the lessons. It made me feel like I was always doing something wrong and that I had nothing to offer. And the truth is that the person I was dating had plenty to learn for themselves, but I don't think this is really working, Lord. I don't want to do this. At least not today. Oh. Okay, Lord, you want me to do this? Please help me, because it doesn't sound. Okay. I was once in a relationship where I was the one who had to learn all of the lessons. And the truth is that the person I was with had plenty of growing to do, but they never allowed me to help them grow like they were trying to help me grow all the time. Right. If I'm going to be completely honest, the person I was dating was prideful, he was arrogant, and he only felt good about himself when he was pointing out my flaws. The thing is, you can only help someone else to grow to the extent to which you are willing to grow. It should never be all one way or the other, but it should be a give and take between the two. Another red flag is if your morals and your values conflict. Amos 3:3 says, "How can two walk together unless they agree?" And a lot of people say opposites attract. To some extent, I agree. However, you and your significant other should always see eye to eye on the big things, like certain beliefs and behaviors that are and are not acceptable. This is where communication is so important, because you have to be able to talk about your crazy family members and money and sex. The people that avoid these conversations are the very ones that find out too late that the person that they fell in love with has a completely different set of beliefs than they do. And a lot of times in these situations, love is not really enough to make up for that. The fourth red flag is if they have fools for friends. Psalms 1:1 says, "Blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the path of sinners, nor sits in the presence of the scornful." If you want to see what your boo's future looks like, then just look at who they're friends with. Because it is a fact that the 5 people we spend the most time with are the people that we end up turning into. Not to mention, these are the people that they're going to be turning to when they need advice and direction. And even if your boo is the mature one of the bunch, it's still something inside of them that's interested in hanging around people who aren't really willing or ready to grow. When you are truly focused on growing and achieving your goals, you don't really want to hang around people who aren't doing the same thing. The 6th red flag is if their love for God doesn't keep them from being hateful towards you or other people. 1 John 4:20 says, "If someone says, 'I love God,' and yet hates his brother, then he's a liar. For he who does not love his brother, someone he sees every day, cannot love God whom he's never seen." If they have the tendency to lose their religion easily and snap out on people, then you might have to question whether they're really able to love you unconditionally, even when they don't want to, even when you piss them off, even when things get hard and ugly and inconvenient. Because trust me, at some point it will. So if your boo seems like they're more than willing to receive the benefits of the love of God, but they aren't willing to extend that to others, major red flag. The last red flag is the most important one. If they aren't saved. Second Corinthians 6:14 says, "Do not be yoked with unbelievers. For what do righteousness and wickedness have in common?" If you're saved and they aren't, then none of the previous points even matters, because it should be a no-go. Now, don't get me wrong. I have heard of people who actually was able to help their boo get saved while they were dating them. But if I were you, I would not bet on this, because this is more like the exception and not the rule. Dating someone who isn't saved is very dangerous, because once you join together with somebody, you automatically begin serving whoever it is they serve, or whatever it is they serve. We all serve something, and if it's not God, it could be money, it could be beauty, it could be success, and it could even be other people. And the last thing you want to do is put yourself in the position to be idolized and worshipped by your boo. You never want to take the place of God, because then you're going to get punished for that. Now that I've given you 7 things to look for in your relationship, it's time for you to help me, okay? Tell your girl what are some things that you know immediately, like, okay, this is not the person for me. I hope this helped you. I hope it cleared up some things for you and your boo, and hopefully in a positive way. And I will see you same place next week. Bye. I am literally sitting on the floor in a corner of my room. Well, I am redesigning, but you know what? That cannot stop the purpose, okay? Sometimes you just gotta thug it out and do what you gotta do. Y'all just don't be knowing what's going on behind the scenes a lot of times, but I will be the one to let you know, because It'd be some foolishness and mayhem most of the time.